Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. And this is the first video that I'm uploading regarding any programming on my channel. So if there anything that goes wrong while the recording is being done, I apologize for that because this is my first video that I'm recording regarding programming, and I'll keep on uploading more videos as we go. And of course, there's a lot of room for improvement. All right. So yeah, in this video, I'm going to teach you guys on how to set up Python on your local machine, and therefore we'll go into a series of how to on learning Python, including every single thing from beginner to intermediate level of Python. All right. So before we get started, if you guys see, I'm currently on python.org. Okay, this is the main site for Python where you guys can have the downloads and all of that. Before we get into these downloads, let's quickly see why Python is important. Okay, Python has been here for a long time. It has been here way before Java. Okay, but unfortunately, somehow Java is being is known as one of the popular languages, whereby Python is now getting the hang of it, which means people are using Python more at its current era, which because it can be because due to a lot of different libraries and all of that, which we'll cover up in a while. Okay, so the first question is, you guys might have, there's a lot of programming languages outside. Okay, and some of them are easy, some of them are hard. All right, and you may ask me if Python is hard. I would say no. Python is all about concepts. Okay, when you grasp the concept, you'll probably programming is all about concept as well. All right, when you grasp the basic concept of programming, you'll be able to master any language, either it's Python, Java, or JavaScript, or anything else. All right. So the first question is, why is Python important? Okay, so it's very simple. All right, Python is one of the fastest growing language. All right, if you look into statistically is kind of fastest growing language, and in which it comes in terms of softwares, libraries, the areas of use, in this case machine learning, artificial intelligence, and a lot of different things. And then GUI, or even software implementation or development, cloud computing, serverless functions, Lambda, if you're into AWS, Lambda, if you know. So serverless function, and a lot of different things, even web applications that's running on Python. All right, and Python is basically an interpreted language. All right, and it also has OOP, which is object-oriented programming, which if you guys are interested in OOP, or if you guys have an interest in OOP, or have used OOP in other languages like Java, PHP, and different and few other languages, then it will be kind of easier for you because the concept is the same. Is the way of implementation is a bit different, which we will go through later on along this tutorial or along this playlist itself. All right. And Python is also a high-level language, which means it's being used in a lot of different things. That does some real stuff. In this case, it can be AI, machine learning. If you're looking into a lot of websites, if you're looking into websites particularly, or any softwares or any systems, it can be within your university, it can be within the workplace, and a lot of different things. And Python is used widely. And even if you look into job scopes that is there out on the internet or out on anywhere, all right, they also look for Python. They look for Python developers than any other developers like Java or anything else, because Python can do so much. All right. And if you guys can see on the side, it says Python is a programming language that lets you work quickly and integrate systems more effectively. All right, which is correct. All right, so that is basically what is behind Python. And Python itself is one of the best languages that I would personally say, because you can do so much within it. It's just that it's not known that much, but it can actually do so much. All right. And if you guys can see success stories, Python is all about automating repetitive tasks, leaving more time for other SEO effort. All right, and a lot of things. And Python is used for Django, Pyramid Bottle, Flask, Web2Py, and then GUI development, Tkinter. If you're into like GUI that is used for maybe a Raspberry Pi or something, you can use Tkinter. And then there's a lot of different things. All right, and pandas if you're looking into scientific or numeric, and then a lot of different things. Okay, So without further ado, let's get started with how to set up Python. So that is a bit easier. All right. So in this case, let me go to, I'm currently on a Mac. All right. If you're on a Windows, you'll be able to install or download or install Python. Okay. Let me go to Windows. All right. So once you are there in those page where you can download Python, I wonder. All right. What's the hiccup there? So now we are in the Windows page for download. You guys can install a stable release, which is 3.7.12. Okay, just can click on that, and then you'll have a exe somewhere here. Let me check. Yep, there you go. Or if you guys can also install 3.9, since this is a bit later. Okay, and it does not matter either 3.7 or 3.9. It's just preferences. All right, try not to install these pre-releases because sometimes they can have bugs or some of the features can be disabled here and there because they are pre-releases, as they usually say. All right, you guys can install the 32-bit or 64-bit installer and then go through the steps that it shows on the site, or I mean it shows on the installer, and then you are good to go. Okay, as for our macOS friends, or if you look into our lots of different things, right? So our macOS friends, you guys will have Python installed automatically, all right, for macOS. But the Python that comes automatically on your Windows machine, I mean on your Mac machine or macOS, is Python 3.7. I mean 2.7. All right, which you guys can see, this is basically installed internally, and they already have put in a message here that saying that this version is included in macOS for compatibility with legacy software. Future versions of macOS will not include 2.7. Okay, so in this case, it is not advisable to use Python 2.7 in any of your projects because it's quite old and most of the things will not probably support it if you are using a newer version of implementation. For example, writing in code, right? A new way of doing things. It might not work. All right. So for macOS users, either you guys can install the release here, which is a DNG. Okay, it's an installer. You guys can just breeze through the installer and then install it. Or if you want another way via the CLI or terminal, you guys can install Homebrew. If you guys do not know what is Homebrew, let's install Homebrew. Let's show it here. Okay, so Homebrew is basically a package manager. Okay, that is for macOS or Linux. You guys can install Homebrew on Linux as well. Okay, all you have to do is copy this command, go into your terminal and paste it. Okay, I already have Homebrew. In this case, if I do Homebrew or if I do Brew, and it will open up Homebrew, which is here. Okay, so that is Homebrew, and Homebrew is basically a package manager. It is like a substitute for your installer itself that you had. All right, so once you have Homebrew installed, all right, the first things you might want to do is Brew. Please do not use sudo. Okay, do not use sudo because Homebrew will not work with sudo. So you guys can go in with brew install Python. All right, and this will automatically install Python. It might have to update a little bit, but it automatically install Python itself. All right, which is Python 3.7. And then once that is installed, either via the installer here that is provided, or via Homebrew, which is CLI, you guys will be able to run this command on your terminal, Python 3. Okay, and as you guys can see, I have Python 3.8.12 installed on my local machine. All right, and the version can vary, and there's no problem if it's either a higher version or lower version, a little bit lower version. Okay, but try not to get it too old because it's due for compatibility, right? And we want to have this installation for a long time as we go on with developing or learning the entire flow of Python from beginner to advanced or intermediate level. All right, so in this case, now we have Python installed. Okay, the next thing that we need to do Okay, the next thing that we need to do is now the first step is install Python. Okay, which is done. We have installed Python. The second one would be in determining which IDE you would like to use. All right. So in this case, in this tutorial, we'll be discussing about which IDE is better for you to use. Okay. My personal preference will be VS Code because it allows a lot of extensions to be installed, and it does work well with macOS. Okay, I've used it personally, and they even have extensions for Python. All right, which allows you to easily have code suggestion, and all that. But if you're looking into something that is robust, then you guys can go for Pycharm. Okay, so this is the version of Pycharm where you guys can install for either Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. And then in Pycharm there are two different things here. Okay, first one is professional, which includes for both scientific and web Python development, either HTML, JS, and SQL support. So this is for if you're looking into a web application that is built with Python. In this case, it can be Django, Flask, and different frameworks that you guys can integrate with, which we will go through it later on in one of the different series. But in this series, our main focus is to learn Python from scratch. All right. Or the other one, or another one will be community version, which is just for pure Python development. All right. And if you guys notice, the professional version is actually it's not a freeware. You need to pay for it. But there's a thing. If you guys are students, you guys can apply for GitHub Education Pack. All right. GitHub Education Pack, by you as a student developer, you can verify your student account with GitHub, which is your student email or student ID, and then you'll be able to have a free version of a license for Pycharm itself, okay, which is JetBrains. So if you look into student benefits, all right, I have to log in. I'm not going to log in, but if you look into your student benefits, okay, I hope they show it here. Yeah. If you look into JetBrains, if you guys can see it here, these are the benefits. It has every single thing here, including Azure Cloud, name.com, which is for domains and emails, Namecheap. You get 1 year domain name registration on the .me TLD. DigitalOcean, $100 platform for new users, Canva, Bootstrap Studio, and a lot of different good stuff. Okay, and all of this packs that is given for free are really useful, and those are expensive as well if you want to get it individually. So make sure you have a good use of it. All right. And for JetBrains, as you guys can see, it comes with professional desktop IDEs: IntelliJ IDEA, Pycharm, PHP Storm, Rider, Sea Lion, and a lot of different things, a lot of IDEs that is a part of JetBrains. And there we go, a free subscription for students to be renewed annually. And this renewal will be done automatically. Otherwise, you'll probably need to re-verify back your student email, and you'll get access back to JetBrains. All right, you guys can download one of this, and it'll be fine if you either download a community or professional version. All right. So for sake of simplicity, I'm going to install VS Code, which I already have on my machine. All right. And you guys can choose either if you guys want to have Pycharm or VS Code, or if you have any other IDE like Sublime Text. I mean, this works well as well. Okay, in Sublime Text, you guys can select the version, the language, and then it will work. Okay, let me switch it to text. Anyways, just leave it like this. Plain text, there you go. All right. Okay, so when we go to our terminal, okay, you guys can use either idle. Idle will be a part of Windows. All right, you guys will see an app called Idle, which is IDLE. All right, on your Windows Start button, okay, or program list there. And then if you're using Mac OS or Linux, you guys can type in Python 3 directly on your terminal, and then you guys will be highlighted. You guys will be brought to the command line interface. All right. In a command line interface, you guys can type in anything. Okay, like 1 + 1 is direct. 1 plus 1 is 2. There you go. We have the answer here. Okay. It can be anything. We can type in input. What is your name? And there we go. It asks me what is my name. So I'm going to say inspector. Inspector gadget. And there you go. Inspector gadget string is omitted out. So there's a lot of things you guys can do, which we will go through all of these functions, all of these features that Python has by default, which you guys can extend it in your applications, and it will be way easier. Okay. One of the things that I would love the best would be unpacking and all of that, but we'll go through all of that methods later on in our tutorial. Okay, as we progress. But in this video itself, I would like to explain on how we can, if you want to quit the Python CLI, all right, you guys can simply type in quit with this parentheses, and then you guys will quit back to your terminal. Okay, and then there goes a lot of different things, and Python itself has a lot of methods or implementations that you guys can do, which we'll also look into that. But the main motive of this video is to getting started, or even installing Python on a local machine. All right. And once you guys have installed it, you guys are ready to follow along with me on the next steps, which I'll be showing in the next video, where we'll be discussing about Python itself. More on Python, we'll be touching the code, we'll be looking into the files and a lot of different things, a lot of fun stuff. All right. So until then, thank you guys for watching. And if there's any other questions or any other feedback, make sure you guys leave it in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you, and stay safe.